Hey NFL fans, it's Gary Greene, longtime sports handicapper and professional sports bettor in Vegas for the past 35 years, and this year Gary Wins videos, and this is your NFL playoff scenarios, with this being the final week number 18 in the NFL. And we have two Saturday games. First, we have Cleveland at the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens opened 17. Now they're bet up to 20. I expect by Saturday when this game kicks off, it'll be over 21. Not too many people are going to be on Cleveland in that game. Still a very live game for Baltimore, as they must win the game to win the division. If they lose, the next game that has Pittsburgh in it, a Pittsburgh win would steal the division back. So there's zero chance, that Cleveland's going to win this game. Cleveland has scored 10 points in the last 2 weeks. Their offense is abominable, and they're sitting pretty right now at the second draft spot. So they're not going to win the game, but you know, if you were thinking of going against Baltimore, that they might sit their players in the second half with a big lead, you might be better off just attempting to go with the Cleveland Browns team total under, because it doesn't look like they're going to really play that inspired, and the offense hasn't done much. Be surprising if they would even do much in the second half. Baltimore would be running out the clock for the entire second half the best that they could. So that's your scenario there. In the next game, though, it's a live game. This is one of a few live games. There's not many of them, but Cincinnati at Pittsburgh Saturday. Cincinnati's a tiny favorite in this game. And, of course, again, for Pittsburgh, could there be a letdown due to the fact that Baltimore outcome will come before they even kick off? So if they see that Baltimore won, they know they can't win the division. But there's still a lot to play for, because the seeding is, if they can win the game, they'll get the seed to go against Houston at Houston in the wild card. That's much different than playing one of the upper tier teams. So they're certainly not going to let up. Now, when I look at the Bengals, they must win. They need a loss by the Miami to the Jets, which is very probable because Miami has a backup quarterback in there, and they haven't done really much on offense whenever the starter Tua didn't play. The other game is more the tough game, because Denver just needs to beat Kansas City. Now, that's funny to say. They just need to beat Kansas City. Now, Kansas City will have no Patrick Mahomes at quarterback. Most of their starters will be sitting. But Carson Wentz will come in and play. And I've seen these games happen every year on the final week of the year, and somebody goes out there that looks like they're just going to sit their guys out, and somehow the backups go in there and get the job done. Am I saying that's going to happen here? No. I'm not. I wouldn't bet on Kansas City in this game, even though the line has really gone crazy now to where Denver's now a double-digit favorite. But the bottom line is, the Denver kids are kids. They're star players now, for the most part, are young kids. So they don't have a lot of experience. This is almost like a playoff game, and there's going to be a lot of pressure because they had a chance to win the last couple weeks and they couldn't get the job done. So I'd be a little hesitant on laying that big number as well. As far as Cincinnati goes, though, Joe Burrow wouldn't care if they had a chance to get in the playoffs or if they had zero chance. He's going out there to throw up 35. Joe Burrow knows all the talk that's going on about Allen or Lamar Jackson for MVP. In his mind, I can assure you, he believes he's the MVP, and you can make a good case for it. But the bottom line is, the offense for Cincinnati ain't never throwing in the towel. They'll be in the game at the end. They'll still be throwing the ball if they're up by 20, trying to get another touchdown, just like Ole Miss did tonight in their bowl game. So don't be fooled by that. That's a live game, though. That's one of the two big games besides Detroit and Minnesota, which will close out the games on Sunday night. Now, the Denver Broncos just win the game. They don't have to cover the spread. There's nothing in these games that says you have to cover spreads too to get into the playoffs. Just get the win, and head coaches like Sean Payton are no dummies. They know what to do to just get the win. As far as Miami, though, it would be funny if Kansas City did knock off Denver in this spot, and then make Miami a live team, Miami Dolphins, to win and get in the playoffs. That's as crazy as the thing as I've seen all year in this league. When we go over to the NFC, you have Tampa Bay and Atlanta, and of course Atlanta blew their chance losing at Washington last week in that crazy wild game. And of course Tampa Bay handled their business in a big way last week. So now Tampa Bay just needs to beat the Saints, who haven't scored any points in the last couple weeks. For most part, they've been dead for a while. They were the worst tackling team before they really got hit by the injury bug. And Tampa Bay right now, they're going for records. They're going for things that this team's not going to let off the gas. When maybe in the fourth quarter if they're up by 28, but by then you'd be covering the spread as well. I don't see them throwing in the towel too early in this game because they know they still have to get this win, or else they're going to be looking on the wrong side. They're going to see no playoff action with a loss, because you would have to anticipate their theory would be that Atlanta's going to beat Carolina, because Carolina obviously has nothing to play for, and Atlanta's trying to still get into the playoffs. I'd be real. The one team I'd be most scared about this week is Atlanta, because in my mind, they know they blew their chance. The letdown that they're coming in, you never want to bet teams on that kind of letdown. And on top of that, the fact is they know Tampa Bay's going to win. They're not stupid. And this Carolina, they haven't thrown in the towel at all. They're trying to look and find themselves better for next year, leave on a positive note. They're not quitting at all. And Bryce Young has looked a lot better. The defense still has, a lot of question marks. Atlanta should be able to put up some points on them. That could end up being a crazier high-scoring game, and if you get lucky with a couple of turnovers, that Atlanta would be the one game that I'd be really nervous about laying the points with. Next is my Washington, the Commanders. When they put this line out, I was doing a show on Monday, and the line had been Washington opened up just 2.5 against Dallas, and I said, that's way off. That's a mistake. It makes no sense. It looks like to a lot of people and the lines makers, clearly, they thought as soon as this game ended that Washington made the playoffs, and that's all that mattered. A Washington win here guarantees them the 6th seed, that they get to play at LA Rams, where the quarterback of the Rams, Stafford, has no touchdown passes 2 of the last 3 games. And if they lose and Green Bay wins against the Bears, which is what you would expect, that means the Packers flip them, and now the Washington Commanders go to Philly again next week in a revenge game for Philadelphia. There's no way that was going to make sense. And guess what? Now the Washington Commanders are basically up to a 7-point favorite at some shops, including Circa here, which takes the biggest action at Vegas, 6.5 at the rest. But again, 2.5, 3 was a mistake. And Dallas, they haven't quit. You have to give them credit. But with no CeeDee Lamb, you see what happened to the offense last week. Kind of tough to win when that was your main weapon on offense. So, for Washington to go out and snub their toe in this game, knowing what the complications are of either going to LA or Philly, you don't want to go to Philly. That's just crazy. They got to build on the momentum and go into the playoffs hot. So the line's much closer to where it should be now. Of course, I just mentioned Green Bay, so they're still live. They'll play the same time as Washington. So they both will get done at the same time. But again, they could get the number 6 seed if Washington were to blow that game at Dallas. And we've seen Washington do terrible things in the final weeks of these seasons over the past few years. Not the same mindset this year, though. But that's one thing that I would expect, that Green Bay, if they peeked ahead and saw that Washington was killing Dallas like Dallas got killed last week, they could pull their starters late and then end up getting backdoored by a Chicago team that, I don't know how anybody could bet them right now, but it just seems too much like a movie script to me. Then you have the LA Chargers at the Raiders. And the Raiders have won 2 straight at the wrong time. They finally can win a game, and not only win 1, but they win 2, and they go from the top draft pick or number 2 all the way down to 7, 8, 9 to probably go out and win it again and drop to 10 because they're the stupidest team in football. But as far as the Chargers go, they got 61 points in the last 6 quarters. The offense is finally clicking right now. Head coach Harbaugh, he don't like to lose. He don't like to lose games. He ain't going to go out there and throw this game. No way, no how. But the bottom line here is the same situation, that the Chargers still have to get this win. They have to get this win or they can drop in the standings, and they don't want to drop in the standings. They want to play the Houston Texans. So be very interesting to see what ends up happening there. But I could see that game ended up if it turns out. I mean, I like this O'Connell kid. He's done enough good things for the Raiders to at least be able to make that game maybe be an exciting game. So when we look at the teams that are in the draft, and we've already seen teams mess up big time, I just don't think that any of them are this stupid to go out and win a game. Number 1 being the Patriots. Okay, Buffalo's going to sit players, but a Patriots win knocks them from the number 1 spot and the chance to get a boatload of picks to trade that pick. It's just almost hard to believe that you would go out there and win that game. You figure out a way to lose on purpose. The Raiders are the one team where the coach probably figures he might get fired. So what the hell? He don't give a shit about the team next year. I don't care about the future. We know you don't care about the future. That's what makes them live. So be careful. But Cleveland, they're not going to win anyway. So you won't even have to put them in there. They're getting at worst to number 2. And if the Patriots are stupid, they'll sneak into number 1, which is exactly where they want to go. So they could get, you have Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders, Travis Hunter. Okay, teams need quarterbacks, not New England. So New England moves down a little bit. They might still be able to grab extra picks and Hunter. That could be a really big swoop. But the Giants win last week finally. Idiots had a chance to be right there. They're the one that needs a quarterback the most. And what do? They could fall to number 4 where they're going to have to give away a lot of their draft compensation here to get a chance to move up. Jacksonville, same situation. They don't need a quarterback. They're such a head scratcher, though. Another team, I guess, I'd be a little worried about. But again, this Carolina team at number 6, at this point, they're playing for some pride and for next year. I know they would like to go in there and knock off Atlanta. So don't look at Carolina as being dead. They did get beat by a big score against Tampa Bay, but they never quit. I had Tampa Bay last week. They never quit. So be careful of that. Bet accordingly. And like I said, betting bad teams. Last week, the favorites were 15-1. I think they were 13-3 against the spread. People just keep trying the system of just, I'm going to bet against what everybody does. And that's the way the house wins. That's not how the house wins. The house wins because people bet big parlays, and parlays don't cash. Don't keep thinking the house is geniuses. If they were that much of a genius, I would already be working at Burger King and not doing this. Okay, there's a difference. They're smart people, but they're not geniuses. And again, just betting against everybody else ain't going to make you a profitable bettor either. Not betting parlays is going to give you a chance to be a profitable bettor. So be careful. This last week, somebody's going to knock somebody off, and everybody's going to say, what the hell's going on here? But I told you the scenarios of the few that could and wouldn't be a head scratcher to me anyway. So bet accordingly. It's the last week of the year. Heck, the best thing is to check out my video on the Lions and Vikings. That game is live. That's the best game of the year, and it means everything. Number 1 seed for the winner, number 5 seed for the loser, on the road in the playoffs. Not even a home game with 14 wins. The first time in history that 2 teams are playing with 28 wins coming into the game. The record before that was 25. The best game of the year as far as I'm concerned, with that much on the line. So check out that video, bookmark us, check out all our Gary Wins videos, and be sure to check out as I start to add more and more now that football's weaning down, to catch more and more college basketball videos, and hopefully we could stay red hot with the prop picks that we give out on these football games the rest of the way, or the regular picks. We have just killed it all year long for our paid clients, but for you guys with the videos, we've cashed in big time all year again, and it was nice to win the Arizona State and the Oregon-Ohio State games over 2 of our 4. The 2 games we made a big pick on the videos of the playoff games. So if you listen to us, you made a few more bucks, and hopefully we will have a few more winners here in these videos the rest of the way. And wish everybody a happy new year, and stay safe out there. Never bet what you can afford to lose, and drive safe always. God bless.